Episode 3 of the Skeleton Crew brings with it a host of lore that I didn't expect to get in a show like this. Spoilers if you haven't seen it in 3, 2, 1. The story is getting deeper and more mystical as we continue to learn more about the kids' situation and DYAD's story. As they escape the port of Borgo, the distrust is already being sown between Fern, KB, Wim, and Neil, with Wim and Neil already bought into the Jedi fantasy as he floats things. The main takeaway I have with this episode is something that I had long predicted. DYAD would use the kids to find some sort of payout or reward, and in this case a treasure, and it's evident that he is aware of the legend of At Attin. Eventually he's going to endear himself to the kids. But as of now, he remains on the outs as he reveals the truth to the kids while trying to escape from New Republic X-Wings. The biggest reveals from this episode come from their rendezvous with Kim, an old friend of DYAD, who knows him as Crimson Jack. It seems DYAD Nanawood has taken multiple personas, or is the same persona. Captain Crimson Jack Silvo Jude Law. Within Kim's observatory, it's revealed that At Attin was once part of a chain of 9 worlds called the Jewels of the Old Republic that housed abundant resources. Depicted in this scroll are the 9 worlds, including the swirly planet, which can only be At Attin. As Neil describes, the barrier was a cloudy swirl. Also depicted in this scroll is what seems to be a lay on hands ritual, of which we have no canonical reference to. Written haphazardly around the depiction of the 9 worlds is what I can only describe as a decoder's worst nightmare. Me and Choco have translated and transliterated what we could of what is written on this scroll. There is in fact legible and coherent sentences, marred by a bunch of gibberish. So here's what we could transliterate so far. The worlds are nourished and housed, south worlds were opened, and so the Senate deemed the 9th world, At Attin, founded, and thus it was to this day the great work, so that none shall, none will obtain. From that I can gather that the Senate had deemed 9 worlds that nourished abundant resources necessary to hide, and At Attin was the 9th world to be founded, and thus it was the great work because it was the only planet that survived the destruction of whatever happened all those years ago. Additionally, Kim describes Fern's top marks emblem as an Old Republic emblem containing Palmerish numerals, which aren't typically seen in Proto-Republic artifacts. Now, Proto in this context is lowercase, which indicates that its designation to be Protean and primitive in nature, and not a signifier of like an era or an epoch that's named Proto-Republic. So the symbol that Fern wears on her rucksack is indicative of an ancient Republic symbol using contemporary numerics, which would suggest At Attin comes from the Old Republic, capital letters. But during a transitionary period where Palmerish numerals would be used in conjunction with the times. This would make At Attin, the society within, a land stuck in time. A land that technologically and socially exists as a remnant of the Old Republic, which explains their rail system, that they have no hover cars, no technology we've seen from the prequel trilogy, and this is capital letters Old Republic, hence the usage of the Old Republic dattery. But more so, it explains why the kids are unfamiliar with the war, what happened to Alderaan, and why they still learn about Coruscant. They are a Republic planet, like a Fallout vault, and they have no idea what's happening on the outside. And to those on the outside, it would seem that this planet is teeming with resources and riches. I love this show.